Hi there. In June this year, Macro Art came under new ownership following an MBO from James Jennings, Michael Green and Matthew Guise. I'm here with the latter to talk about the team's plans for the company, which has been involved in wide format since 1992. Hi Matt, can you just take us through the circumstances leading up to the MBO?
Basically, John Walker, former MD, got ill in 2012. At the time, me, James and Michael, who have since come on as part of the MBO, took over the day-to-day running of it while John was off convalescing from his illness. In 2012, we grew by around 20%. Turnover was up, obviously profit was up as well. That kind of led us as a team of three to look at it and go, well, is there a potential going forward with not just John being ill, but not getting any younger either way, to look at potential MBO, which we approached him with when he came back in sort of 2013. And John was always of the impression that he wanted the business to carry on into the future with the people that were running the business rather than sell it to the highest bidder, which was the other option. So he was very open to it, and we put together a package that took quite a long time to get to be perfectly honest, that enabled us to conduct an MBO, unfortunately, after he passed away.
Macro Art co-founder, the late John Walker, was very well respected in the industry. What's been his legacy and how is the team dealing with that?
I think his legacy was a very positive one. I think what John had a unique way of doing was empowering everybody that worked with him to have a sense of responsibility, whether that's somebody in packing, whether that's somebody in senior management. Everybody worked for John and Gretchen. And I think when it came out that we were part of the MBO team, it was somebody that people knew. We work with the people that are already here. So the legacy that John created, which was he wanted to sell it to people that worked here, meant that everybody kept that sense of ownership. I think if it would have been sold to a third party, a faceless entity almost, that legacy would have just disappeared. And John was very keen for that to continue. In terms of as a businessman, the business we've took on is in a great financial situation purely because of the nature of what John was. He was an accountant, a trained accountant. So we went through some horrendously difficult periods 3 or 4 years ago when the recession hit, like everybody did. And I think because of his acumen and the investments we made at the time, we've come out the other side, and we've conducted an MBO at a great time for the business, where the future is still one of growth and development as a business. And there's plenty. One of the things the MBO, all the people backing the MBO liked, was the fact that there's a great future and there's a lot more development we can do as a business. We're not at the top of the tree. There's room for growth, there's room for development and room for change within the business to make it even better than it was previously.
So how important is it that new investors and non-executive directors came on board at the time of the MBO?
To be honest, it was vital from our point of view. We, as a three, have worked in various businesses over the years, but we know Macro Art very, very well as a business. We know what makes it tick, we know how to improve it, we know how to make it better, the adjustments we need to make internally. What we as a three haven't got is any financial background, any investors and acquisitions background. So we teamed up with 2 non-executive directors who brought on others alongside them, and we would never got to a stage without them. Writing the business plan and the investment packages we wanted to put together, the timings of those were critical. They're not necessarily involved on a day-to-day basis, but they're always at the end of the phone should we have any questions or queries. And it's nice to have that support, because it's a very daunting thing in MBO. Something we spoke about for many years, but actually getting to the point where we are now would just never have come to fruition without. We haven't gone down the venture capitalist route or anything like that, so it's almost privately funded, which means that they understand the business we're in, they understand there are peaks and troughs, and the pressure isn't as great as it could have been going down a different investment route.
Macro Art reported a 6.7 million turnover in 2013 and was forecasting an 8% growth for this year. It's doubled staff to 70 since moving into this site in 2005. Do you think that's a sustainable kind of level of growth?
Where we are as a business, it's certainly a buoyant industry. Again, I think we've been through some downturns, if we're being honest. I think it's as strong now as it has been for a good few years. we're going to continue to grow. That is part of the business plan. Not to that kind of growth, if I'm being honest. We're looking at an increase in growth. We're looking at an increase in turnover, but also obviously an increase in profit by changing the way we do things. We have figures in place with the business plan, and there is a growth that we can achieve from this site without too much more investment in new units and staff. There's some retraining going on and some restructuring of shift patterns, which will enable us to increase turnover without necessarily increasing the headcount too much and therefore the overheads too much. So yes, there is going to be growth in place. It won't double it in size again, purely because we as a business know the ceiling we have within this site we've got.
So on the wider topic of sustainability, what's the MBO team's plans for going forward? We
obviously try and tick all the green boxes like everybody does. We've got the ISO 9001 and 14001. So in terms of the sustainability from that side of it, that will continue to be focused upon. With some changes going on internally where there's going to be more focus on recyclability and this kind of stuff, because it is what our clients are asking for. In terms of the business as a whole, there's some new salespeople coming on board to help continue to grow the business and sustain the level of business we're enjoying. Because we've got to a certain level as a business, the salespeople are coming on with certain targets for certain specific market sectors to help us develop those.
MacroArt has been running UV, solvent and dye sub machines for some time, but has been phasing out solvent. Is that from a sustainability point of view, or are there other reasons for that?
To be honest, the last solvent machine was taken out sort of middle of last year. Green is an issue, obviously, or being green is an issue. The main issue regarding solvent machines is a capacity one and a quality one. All new technology is either UV or LED now. The new machine we've got coming in is an LED rather than a UV, but it is just natural progression in technology. The ViewTech GS that we've got out there is 125, 150 square metres an hour. The old solvent that we replaced was about 25 square metres an hour. The quality is far superior as well. So it is just listening to clients and their expectations and managing those accordingly. Yes, UV is certainly more green than solvent, but it was more a technology issue and a speed and production issue than a green issue in itself.
I understand from previous conversations with James Jennings that Dyson textile printing has been quite a winner for MacroArt since it got involved in 2010. He was saying turnover last year was about 2 million from that side of the business, and that margins were about 10% more than for the UV solvent side. What's your take on that part of the business going forward?
In 2013 it was around what James said, which was about 2 million. I think when we did it, or when John did it after discussions with us, it was the perfect time for us as a business. It was a difficult 6 to 12 month learning curve with the dye sub technology, yeah. But what we've done as a business is different to most of our competition and given us a little bit of a niche with the systems and the project management and becoming a service provider of that kind of work rather than just a volume producer. And I think from a personal point of view, a lot of the work that I do and my clients do is in the exhibition and event industries, and that's just been a massive growth for us. I mean, the kind of work we now enjoy on that we wouldn't have dreamed of being able to do without the investment in that side of the business. We're doing one-off bespoke projects with some big agencies and some very well-known brands for 100, 200 grand at a time now, which involve everything right through from site survey to print to system supply to installation to removal. We've done that by setting up a very strong team downstairs of project managers with in-depth knowledge of systems as well as installations and this kind of stuff as well. And it's a thing that none of our competition is able to offer to the degree that we do. So in essence, it's put us further up the food chain a little bit and made us the go-to guys for that kind of work. I think the industry as a whole, or the UK as a whole, is behind the continent a little bit in terms of systems and installation, right from retail to point of sale through to exhibition. And I think we've come in at the right time, able to offer something a little bit different from our competition and take the headache away from our clients and go, yes, we can do the whole package with that. And it moves you away from the stack it high, sell it cheap, can you do it for X? It's more, we want this solution, how can you provide it? And that will continue to grow. I think exhibition and event work is about 45% of our turnover currently, but there's such a massive market for us to grow and develop with. We do a lot of work at the big shows, but there's always more work we can capitalise on, and we touched on it before. Our portfolio of work is so strong now. People are beginning to appreciate what we can offer as an all-in package, as a service provider, rather than just a supplier of a dye sub-fabric.
So what are your other earmarked areas of investment then?
We've purchased a Viewtech GS 3250 LX, which is an LED hybrid machine, which obviously produces Foamex Correx dye bond, but basically all rigid substrates. It also does high quality vinyl. Alongside that, we've bought a Zund cutter to enable us to cut shapes as well, purely because that was a missing package in what we offered. We've obviously got 5 metre wide UV, we've obviously got dye sub and systems. A lot of our client base as a whole buys in flatbed print production or vinyl or cut vinyl, whatever it might be. We as a business haven't been able to offer that. So it's a case of upselling to our existing client base, as well as being able to offer something to new clients as well. We've got a couple of new sales guys that have joined us as well to enable us to target new markets and extra clients within those markets who are proving to be a success as well. Behind the scenes a little bit, we've invested heavily in a new MIS system, some new proofing systems. There's some cross-training of staff currently ongoing. We're switching to continental shifts at the end of the year, so there's a lot we're doing as a business to ramp up ready for the rest of the year and into next year.
What do you think is likely to have the biggest impact on the business going forward?
I think the amalgamation of all of the kit we've got, the amalgamation of the people we've got in terms of project management, they're stepping up the ladder a little bit in terms of being a full service provider. I think with the arenas we deal in, with it being event and exhibition and a small amount of retail which is continuing to grow, there's a massive opportunity for almost a one-stop shop. Somebody that can, yes, we can do a Foamex board, but we can also do a very bespoke, complex exhibition structure. And I think the more your clients learn to rely on you for that kind of work, the more work they will give you. Clients want to be able to rely on one person where they can just go, you fix that. And I think that's where we're looking to go.
So how do you think Macro Art will look in 5 years then?
I think Macro Art as a business, again we touched on earlier, I think has a very good reputation with its client base. I think our customer retention is very, very high. We want to grow and develop that, make us stronger, make us look a more professional business with the computer systems we're putting in, the reporting systems and everything else, and obviously being able to offer the one-stop shop. In 5 years, I'd like to feel we would be the name at the top of the tree when it comes to retail and exhibition graphics, whether that's, like we said, complex structure or whether it's a simple canvas wrap. And I think with the skill set we've got and the people we've got in place, the management team and below, some of the staff we've got have been here 10, 15 years and are the best in the industry. I think we're in a great position to achieve that.